Now, one of the things that we saw, especially beginning of this year when it comes to the fast growing EV industry in China, is that there has been some pretty huge price competition. A lot of EVs have been cutting their prices, trying to capture as many sales as possible. With NIO, we know that our very own, they also try to cut and adjust the price on some of their models so that at least they can scoop some good sales. I mean, they introduce subsidies, they introduce some incentives to try to help the sales, of course, grow. Because from around April, we saw NIO deliveries continuing to improve, which is something that is pretty exciting. I mean, April, you will know that NIO sold 15,620, whilst in May they sold 20,544, and last but not least, in June they sold around 21,209 vehicles. All these came after, of course, NIO adjusted their price and also cut battery rentals, which is something that is pretty decent. Now, Morgan Stanley gave us exactly the kind of discount that NIO was offering in June, which resulted in them delivering that 21,209 vehicles we saw. And as soon as screen, you notice that for the ES8, ES7, EC7 and the ET7, they dropped the prices, or in June they cut prices by 5,000 RMB, which equates to roughly around $690. They've cutted prices on those models, or this is the kind of discounts they were offering during the month of June onto these models, which is something that is pretty exciting. Though we are not seeing this model doing that well, even with these price cuts, but I must say, for a car like the ET7, it is it's in the top 5 of the best-selling cars that you get from NIO, which is something that is pretty exciting, because this tells you that probably these incentives, this price adjustment that NIO is introducing are working for them. Now, something that really excited me, it was when I read on this article, it's when I read that for the EC6, ES6, ET5 Touring and the ET5, NIO increased the price on those models by around 1,000 to 3,000 RMB, which this is pretty good news, because we know that margins won't be compromised as much or as such, because combined these 4 vehicles they constitute to over 80% of NIO's sales, or they constituted to about over 80% of NIO sales for the month of June. That is a fact, though we have not received the stats yet. I am aware, because if you had to look at the insurance registrations on the video I did, they were the top 4 best-selling, and even for the month of May as a whole, these vehicles were the top 4, and it is for that reason why I'm able to say confidently that they constitute to over 80% of NIO's total sales. I'm happy about this because the margins won't be compromised as such. Whilst NIO is offering a 5,000 RMB discount on the other 4 expensive NIO models, over 400,000 RMB, on the ones below 400,000 RMB, they increase the price by around 1,000 to 3,000 RMB, which means that the gross margins are going to improve. It won't be as bad as many people think. In fact, the gross margins, I think they will come out better than what many people are thinking, which is why after the June deliveries, I did say that we need to be careful. We are going to get even more good news or massive surprises during the Q2 earnings. I'm sure many people did not know, or those people that are shorting you and saying that their margins are going to be very bad, I'm sure they did not know about this. But thank God for a big institution or big financial institution like Morgan Stanley, who was able to disclose this information for us to say that on those top 4 best-selling cars on NIO, instead of cutting prices, they increased price by around 1,000 to 3,000 RMB, which is something that is pretty exciting. I'm happy about this, and I think on this article, I think one thing that even we can go home with, or that's something that is really in my mind right now, is that NIO, on their best-selling cars, they increase their price by up to 3,000 RMB. So the overall article, or what this article was trying to stress about, is that the price war or the price competition on this fast-growing EV industry in China has stabilized. So we are not seeing a lot of EVs cutting their price to try to get sales. It looks like for now things have become stable, which is something that is pretty exciting, because this means that car companies will be able to retain some good margins on their profits when they report their earnings, which is very important, and I like this. I don't know how many, I don't want to even start to estimate the kind of gross margins that we are going to see from NIO, but hopefully we get a double digit, especially with the deliveries that we just scoped, the record-breaking deliveries or Q2 deliveries of 57,373. Especially with that figure, I'm hoping that at least gross margins are back to double digit. If that is the case, if that's the case, when NIO report their Q2 earnings, I think we will be set for, of course, more stock recovery, and then it will be a showcase that NIO will end the year maybe on double digit, at least $10 per stock, because it will make no sense for the markets to continue punishing NIO whilst NIO is doing the work, or not only selling lots of cars but also their margins also improving. This is important, and I think once NIO can also prove that it's not just about them selling many cars but their margins are also improving, the market will have no way but to just to reward NIO in terms of the share price or stock price, which I look forward to. Otherwise, we are still to hear when NIO will announce their Q2 earnings, but I'm looking forward to those earnings because, as I've said, NIO reported record-breaking deliveries, not just for the month of June, not just for the month of May and June, but we saw them, of course, smashing their quarterly deliveries, which is something that is pretty exciting. Otherwise, that's all from me, and if you think that this video was amazing, don't forget to hit the likes button, comment and subscribe, and once you subscribe, don't forget to hit or click that notification bell so that at least you get notified by YouTube every time I drop a new content. Otherwise, that's all from me, and I wish you nothing but the best in your stock market investing journey. And before you buy NIO for the very first time, do your own DD so that at least you can be comfortable as you are investing onto this stock. Otherwise, that's all from me, and God bless you all.